Like, how many followers did you have, like, at the time?
It went from 30,000 to 1 million in a month.
Like, what makes you go viral?
You got to go funny, reminiscing, expert, sexy, and wrong. Fresh. I briefly did cage fighting, so I have a little bit of experience in this. When I'm like, like, I sound crazy.
Your pipeline might be like this right now, but the wealthiest people in the world have the biggest pipeline.
Ultimately, it's not necessarily about what you're saying. It's more about your demeanor.
Does cat talking work? Welcome back to Built to Scale, the podcast for operators, builders, and young entrepreneurs who want real systems, not hype. Today's guest is Alec Newman, who personally built a personal brand with over 1.7 million followers and generated over 60 million views on a single video. He's spent 14 years mastering social media across industries like movies, fashion, comedians, real estate, clinics, and now master roofing. Today, we're breaking down the exact roadmap from zero to a viral business and the steps anyone can take to go viral. Let's get to work. Excited to do this with you today, buddy.
Quinn, this is really weird. Like, I'm usually behind the camera. Hi, sorry if this breaks the fourth wall at things, but yeah, this is awesome. These chairs are so much comfier.
Yes,
I'm liking this.
I'm excited to have you doing this with me today, Alec.
Cool.
So, talk to me about your journey with us at Master Roofing so far, and then I want to kind of break down like into your brand, what made you go viral and everything.
Yeah, so I joined Master Roofing in July of last year, and it's been quite a fun experience so far. It's a great team. Overall, been having a really good time with y'all. It's everyone seems to actually be standing behind their product too, which is strange for a company. Usually people are always trying to cut corners, but integrity has been a huge part of it, and that's made me stick around. So it's cool.
I appreciate saying that. I can't believe it's already been 6-7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Time flies.
6-7. Is that still relevant? I don't
What
know.
does that even mean?
Dude, I don't even know at this point, but I think a basketball player made that sound because he was 67.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you one of the things that really made me interested in you working with us when you started was that you had already built like your personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you go viral? Like how did you build your account?
Well, we got to start back at the beginning. I first was trying out with YouTube, but YouTube is a pretty difficult thing to break into. It's always easier to become big on a platform if you're already big somewhere else. But after I got laid off from a job, actually, I needed something to fill my time while I was on the job search, so I started doing TikTok. And I realized immediately that it had huge, like, viral potential because the first video that I posted got like 1,000 views. And that was one of the things like, oh, this platform actually is something for being discovered. That's actually really good, as opposed to YouTube where you have to bite and claw and you can go viral on another site directing to your video, but you'll still only end up with 30 to 40 views on something. Because I was using a lot of alternative styles of things. So I'd post things to Reddit, post things to Imager, get on the front pages of those with content, but then after that, it wouldn't translate over to YouTube. Now, the TikTok journey wasn't overnight by any means. It's very cringe in the beginning when you're like trying to figure it out. My first ever video was one of those oh no videos, the most cliched TikToks you can imagine. You know, the oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So I literally started from
So you
the
found like a
absolute
trend.
worst.
You found like the trends that people were doing. You started like trying the different trends. That's kind of how you started.
You know, you got to start out with that while you're figuring out your voice. So keep with the trends, push it up.
Why aren't you doing videos like that of me?
I'm doing some videos like that of you. We got to get your personal brand. They got to make you good. We don't want to fake it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as for it eventually picking up, began to go viral on a few different ideas. And then ultimately one day I just decided, after seeing that cats were huge, like I saw a video of a cat that had 6 million likes, I thought, oh, well, okay. So I got one. I was in the process anyway, so I didn't get the cat because of TikTok. It was just there. But I remembered something that my mom taught me when I was younger, and that was talking to cats. So I did a few videos of that, and it exploded.
Like how many followers did you have like at the time?
It went from 30,000 to 1 million in a month.
It's a huge jump.
A little bit, yeah.
Just from the viral video?
Yep, just from, I did one viral video and then I did a follow-up that got even more and then a few more after that. And I don't know about you, but having sudden fame thrust upon you can be a little bit stressful because I had tickets to go to VidCon that year. And
what's VidCon?
VidCon is basically Comic-Con, but for influencers.
Okay.
It's over in the Anaheim Convention Center. It's things. And I was like dreading going there because like I'm going there in my 2-week fan of going viral. I'm getting 100 million views. I'm going to be swarmed. Like I'm an introvert naturally. And it was just.
Did you go?
Yeah, I
Did
went.
Did people swarm you?
No. I was a complete stranger. I could have just walked around with a billboard behind me and no one would have cared.
Yeah.
So that's a good humbling experience where just because you're huge on the internet for a bit doesn't mean that anyone knows you're realistic. But I've met some people who've recognized me in real life since, but it's important to keep it in perspective.
What was like, I guess your goal, like, okay, because going from 0 to 30,000 is also like, if those are real organic followers, that's like they are.
Yeah.
That's big, right? Like we talk about even like we were just doing one of the networking groups I'm in was talking about like, you know, how they were Cameron was talking about coconut and how to use micro influencers like moms to give a promo for the company for the service. Like and they have like 2,000-3,000 followers, so 30,000 is a lot. How did you build the account from like 0 to 30,000 and like how long did that take?
Oh, it was a very long time, and I'd absolutely agree. Like 10 micro influencers are much more effective than one giant influencer if you're running a campaign, because you know, like as you grow, you're going to get some bot followers. It's just natural. It's like piranhas. Like you throw in a thing, it's going to swarm the rest of it. So the way that it honestly started was I had one video go viral that was about Edgar Allan Poe of all things. That picked up enough until I was able to get the 1,000 followers.
How long were you posting for?
It was probably
from
like
the beginning,
6 to 8 months before I had the first.
Were you posting like
one.
every day?
Yeah,
multiple times a day.
Now I don't necessarily recommend that now.
But
how
when
are
I was
you
finding
my
how
voice,
are you figuring out the content to post? Like
ADHD helps a lot. Just finding everything.
But you made it in your head like I want to build like an account. What was like the goal for you?
So the goal initially was 10,000, then it became 100,000, but I skipped that obviously, so it kind of threw things into flux a little bit. But it was going to the TikTok lives and Twitch lives, just because every night able to bring in another 100 followers or so, trying that out, then having a few more that get me up to 20, up to 30, etc. And then it just exploded from there.
Was there like a monetary goal in mind for you, or what was like the motivation to like build an account and have a platform of viewers? So
the fun thing is they don't tell you that TikTok doesn't pay very much. You just get the feel like, oh, I'm going to make all this money when I get to it. So back in the day, it was you had to get 10,000 followers. I think that's still the case before you can get monetized. And then from there, it's 7 cents every 1,000 videos or 1,000 views is what it was. Now that sounds okay at first, but then you realize that's like $700 for 1 million views. That's not very much, especially compared to YouTube where people are millionaires for a similar amount of stuff. So yeah, I was initially trying to get the monetization, but then upon seeing that, it was more brand deals that were the important thing, because that can skip the middleman and makes things a lot better when you're getting a check for 15 grand for cat litter or something. Have you done that? Yeah, I did that for cat treats actually. Oh, that's cool. It was so nice. Wish there were more of those. Yeah, I think how'd you get that that deal? So that was during the height of popularity. Like once you start going viral, everyone comes out of the woodwork. It's like winning the lottery. You know that old thing where like people win and then they start hearing from cousins that they never knew existed asking for money. It was like that. Right now, my inbox still is just filled with everybody's mailing list asking me to do something. But like 1 out of 1,000 is actually a good idea. You should respond to them with my handle and say, here, sponsor Quinn. Oh, absolutely. I could definitely see you talking about various types of cat litters. I could. Talking about cats, right? Does cat talking work? Like you made a video, right? Yeah. Your most famous video is you meowing to your cat and then it meowing back, and then it's like a specific like dialect of speaking cat, bro. Yeah, I'd sound absolutely insane. I understand what it's like when I'm like, like I sound crazy. They'd put me in an asylum with a like straitjacket any other time. But the weird thing is, it's working all over the world. Like, my psychosis has been vindicated because people in Indonesia are having people's cats come up to them. I was hugely popular in Australia, of all places, for some times. They had me on like 8 different news programs just because it was working on so many people. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but ultimately it's not necessarily about what you're saying. It's more about your demeanor. Like, if you listen to a cat and observe it, you can figure out what it wants to say to you. They're not just yelling all the time.
Do you think cats have their own language?
I think that you can communicate. Like, I started my first one because a cat was saying it to another cat. So I thought, oh, try this out. My mom showed it to me, went meh, 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 and that's when all the kittens would come in for food. And it worked on completely unrelated cats over decades.
We should have tried that on Shirley's cats today.
Yeah, that if we'd gotten them out of the house, that would have been fun, but I don't think the window cat was going to be very helpful.
So what advice do you have for cat owners?
I mean, just listen and observe. It's pretty normal. Like, your cat wants to communicate with you when it yells at you. Like, yes, it's often food or different food, or why haven't you fed me in the past 5 minutes? But like, if they're chirping at you, chirp back. Like, it becomes a communication point at that.
Did you grow up with dogs or cats?
Both. So I had cats from young age, and then dogs, and then horses, and a potbelly pig, and all types of that.
Wow,
and a turkey.
You grew up on a farm?
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Yeah, you grew up in California.
So I grew up in a very rural area that was 500 square miles with 5,000 cattle. Like, we had 200 or 300 people. My graduating class of 8th grade had 13 kids in it.
So, I just got a new cat.
Uh-huh.
And I have another cat.
Mm-hmm.
So the one I had is a ragdoll.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other cat I just got, I think she's like a Siamese cat. And so me and my wife keep going on like ChatGPT on like how to introduce them. And it's been about like 2 weeks since Caro and I got it. And no more, maybe 3. But we were like traveling for like 2 of those weeks, so we had just a cat sitter going in. But now the new cat has finally just come out of the bathroom. We started opening the door. It would still stay in the bathroom with the door open. Now it's finally coming out and getting more comfortable. And it's such a crazy process to like introduce cats. Like with dogs,
Absolutely.
They can just smell each other. But with like cats, it's like a 4-week process of like, they have to be in like separate rooms. They have to have a separate bathroom. They have to have a separate feeding area. Like, everything has to be completely separate because they're very independent, and they're very territorial too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the key thing to remember with cats is if they're being quiet, it's fine. Like, if they're beating the crap out of each other, but they're not crying out, then they're just playing. And also, random thing. Do you know what ChatGPT means in French?
No, what does it mean?
Cat, I farted. ChatGPT.
Really?
Yep.
That's funny. I never heard that before. How did you figure that out, Alec?
I knew chat just because that took a little French back in the day, and then I found out GPT was another.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Quinn. Just wanted to let you know I have a roofing company here in Southern California. Hopefully you're getting value from today's episode. If you do need us for anything for replacement or repairs or just maintenance on the roof, residential or commercial, hit us up. I'll drop the phone number right below. Give us a call and we'd love to take care of you. Now back to the episode. So going back to kind of like so obviously for Master Roofing, you're a director of marketing. So you're not just doing social media, you're focusing on like all aspects of lead generation and getting the phones to ring here. I kind of want to talk about 2 different things. I guess first, like, what makes you go viral, right? And then how can you position yourself like a roofing company or a service company in a way where they can get more leads with the budget they have? Like, what are those steps?
Oh, this is going to be a long answer. I'm going to take a drink first with my built to scale mug. So if I were to give anyone advice on how to go viral in the first part, it's not an instant thing. But if you follow a few certain ideas, it can really make your life a lot easier.
Is it just luck?
A little bit, but here's a word for you. Fresh. Fresh is the best way if you cover these things. Each of it stands for a different letter. First, and it's from most difficult to go viral and the easiest to go viral. So the first one, F, it's for funny. If you've got something that makes people happy, where they can tune in every day just to enjoy, and something kind of entertaining they send to their friends. Up next, R for reminiscing, anything that has to do with their nostalgia. It's if people can remember something when they were younger, then it's going to hit them. Like, why do you think sampled music is so popular? Is it because, wow, they just really like this guy? Or is it because they've already recognized something that went viral before, like a classic song of some sort? Also, I believe that when you go to short form content, people don't want to be taught something new. They want to be taught something they've already been taught. Okay. So you can find like what's more popular, the really interesting story of the French aristocracy of the 1800s or the Battle of Thermopylae, where the Spartans, everybody already knows that. People will watch 100 videos about Thermopylae before anything else, which brings us into the next one. E for expert or educational. If you can teach someone something that they're already kind of familiar with, or if you have an expertise, this is where all the news people come from, where all those parts come, where you become someone that people consider an expert.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the acronym?
Fresh.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. And then S, which is sexy. The easiest way to do it is to be hot. Like, I'm not, but a lot of people have a really life on easy mode, where they just are able to be an attractive person who people want to turn into, the whole Kardashian effect. And then the last is H, which stands for wrong.
What do you mean?
Exactly. People want to be able to feel superior to the other people. So you can see people who've messed up, who've been canceled, one of the more popular ones that I've seen that was hugely viral was a woman who put Gorilla Glue in her hair because she didn't have her standard glue. And the internet came out of the woodwork just to correct her and say how stupid she was. Another one that keeps going viral is people accidentally saying the N-word. Like, there was a lobster farmer, and I'm going to say this very slowly. He held up a lobster covered in eggs, and he said, "We've got an egg-er." When he said it faster, it did not sound like that. And he got thousands of stitches of people coming in to basically be like, okay. In general, like, one of the early parts of my cats, I'm not the cleanest person, as you've seen my desk, but a lot of my comments were based around, hey, you need to vacuum more. Like, that's like the extra
internet
engagement.
Bullies. Yeah,
exactly. That's extra. Like, if you can look down on someone, everyone wants to feel superior. So it's the easiest way to go viral, but you do not it's a very, very sensitive line to cross. So yeah, you got to go funny, reminiscing, expert, sexy, and wrong.
Fresh, funny,
reminiscing, expert, sexy, and wrong. Mm-hmm.
That's huge. I think that all of those are things that like Rich Summers talks about, right? And like just kind of those concepts about like when you do like a reaction video, right? That's part of that acronym because you're giving the news, right?
Well, that's the reminiscing because it's seeing things that people like, even the people who are just like that was really popular for a while, but they were still coasting off people's other stuff.
So from the other side of the question, right? From going viral, what about marketing?
So marketing's a really weird thing because like with Master Roofing, we're a premium brand where white glove service is accessible to everyone. We don't necessarily want to be the type of thing that's showing people like doing pratfalls on a roof or things like that. Like early on in the career, we were doing a thing where I was showcasing the CSR people, but that's not necessarily a good view of the brand. Now, yes, it's good for young audiences, but people are going to go to a roofer and they're not going to want to see 23-year-old women. They're going to want to see roofers on this thing because that's the type of thing that you want to push. So I understand it may not always make sense what I'm doing, but there is a method to the madness. Now, you may also see other profiles that have gone hugely viral for stupid reasons. But what happens to those things once the stupidity runs out? No one's going to that Chinese food place anymore. No one's trying it.
So besides like social media marketing, what about the other side of marketing? What else are we doing to generate leads and build it out?
I mean, you gotta. What would you say to like a new,
like let's say there's a kid out there who's listening to this and he's like, I want to start a roofing company. How do I get leads?
Yeah. So the main thing you're going to use these days is digital. You still need to have a lot of classic magazine advertisement or a little bit because the elderly population, especially if you're in a service like home services or roofing, people who own homes aren't necessarily going to be the ones who are trying out the newest technologies. So things like Home Mag or Valpak or so on are pretty useful, and people hold on to those forever. Like hoarders are a huge part of our business, we can agree. And then digital like Google Ads and Thumbtack, which I didn't even know about before I came to this company, but is surprisingly good for home services. Like you got to find the lead sources that work with it, and you've got to watch out for scams because there are so many of those. People are saying like, I can get you 3,000 leads in the next month. And then what do we find out? They're all wrong, disconnected numbers.
Yeah, they're just putting together like a fake bogus list on Excel and selling it.
Yep, you can download a list from anywhere, but then it turns out that they're all dead. So, I mean, you could call a cat, and I don't know. I don't think they have enough to pay for a roof.
Would you agree with the statement that leads is a direct result to ad spend?
I'd say it's more due to reputation. Like ad spend is definitely a huge part of it, but if you have a 1-star company and you're spending $1 million a month, you're still going to you'll get some leads, but no one's going to want to actually trust you. But a lot of it is the boots on the ground and the word of mouth, like sending the sales guys out in a clean car with a clean shirt and having them actually know about the subject is the easiest part of marketing.
Well, wrapped trucks, right, is great for branding, great for marketing. How much? I mean, we really believe obviously in tracking and getting the data, and every campaign has its own tracking number, so we can kind of see our return on it. How are the truck wraps working like for advertising for the business?
We have noticed them so many times on the roads. Like it's always cool to see a Master Roofing truck out there. It's eye-catching. We've also got the Prius that has Master Mike, our new mascot, on it, and that's been pretty solid, but I've definitely noticed the truck a lot more than other trucks out there.
Do we get like good response on that as far as like the tracking goes? Like it calls from the trucks?
Yeah, at least the name. I don't think people are necessarily typing a phone number into it while they're driving because that's dangerous and we don't want people to die.
So they're more like looking it up on Google maybe and then giving us a call?
Absolutely.
So it's good for the name. That's what like Ashley Glory said, the girl who came in from Ishmael that built NextGen, and she was talking about with us when she did the whole audit.
Yeah.
About like the branding, right? About like the if we put the logo, like NextGen used to do their billboards all over, right? But they wouldn't put like a phone number. They wouldn't really put, all they would put is like NextGen, HVAC, whatever, call us. Like, and there was no phone number, there was no QR code. It was just the logo, because they understood that if enough people saw the logo, then that they would Google it, because they're not going to call a number off the billboard anyway. So it's like brand recognition, and it builds trust with the community.
Absolutely. I briefly did cage fighting, so I have a little bit of experience in this, but it's never the knockout. You're not going for a one-punch knockout. It's hitting a lot of small things over and over again, because like a roof costs what, $10,000 to $20,000 for a small one at this point.
Right.
Do you think that someone who sees a Google ad just out of the blue is going to be like, you know what? Swipe. No, they're going to see it on Google Ads. They're going to see it in other parts of it. They're going to see it in the magazine. And then when something actually comes up, they're going to remember the name and go from there.
I remember these guys. They're everywhere. Let's call them.
Exactly.
What industries have you worked in before?
Everything. Like I started out in movie advertising, where we did social media campaigns for the movies that no one else wanted to do. We're talking about House at the End of the Street starring Jennifer Lawrence, and Movie 43, or that movie where John Cusack played Edgar Allan Poe meets Saw. Like things that you've never heard of in one way or another.
So
yeah,
kind of B movies, Easter.
But from real studios.
And with real actors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But so many movies come out a year, especially pre-Netflix, where it was just...
So what your job was to, like, this firm you worked with, or was just marketing these movies to get promote them before they come out?
Yep. It was basic social media pages and also seeding things. So like writing in comments of blogs and stuff saying, hey, you should check out this movie, or oh my God, another Josh Hutcherson thing.
So is that where you started?
Yep, that was a start out, and that company transitioned to TV, and then to brands, and then personalities. And that's where it got interesting. Because when you manage someone else's brand, do you know what you learn about humanity? People are pervs. Like, people forget that you're watching their profile. So I'd see things where like a person would just be like hitting on various people he saw on Instagram. And it was just like, dude, you've given someone the keys to your brain. Why are you showing this thing? Like getting woken up, or like just playing a game on my phone, and then an Instagram pop-up comes up and says, "My ass misses you." Just ew.
Yeah, because you would be seeing all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, this is funny, but you say that because there's different influencers that talk about like hiring like a overseas marketing guy to manage their social media, somebody that's like in India or Bangladesh or something, and then they end up getting like their account hacked or ends up like spamming people and all this stuff. And you have to be really careful with like when you have people managing your brand, like what you're doing on that account. And I'm sure you've probably seen some strange things.
There have definitely been some things where, especially like when you're working with someone and you're doing damage control, because we had like the first line of PR for things, and someone would say something on a random Saturday, and then it would just be like, everyone, all hands on deck. They said something really dumb. But then after that, we did stand-up comedians, which was similar. But after that, went over to an allergy clinic, then a real estate management company, which dealt with fashion and art and multifamily properties, and then found my way to master roofing.
What have you like learned from doing marketing in all these different industries?
That ultimately it's all about just telling a story. Like, you want to be able to engage with it, push the brand, and make people actually want to follow the idea that you're pushing. Like, people say just like, make me go viral. But if you go viral and you don't have something to back it up, showing like, oh no, there's actually a solid foundation, there's something kind of interesting, then that viral moment leads to nothing. Which honestly kind of happened to me, because I was hugely popular for cats. Everyone wanted to hear more about cats, but cats don't talk that much. So after 10 or 15 lessons or so, people didn't really care as much anymore. And then I had to transition over to like movie talks, which isn't quite the same as cats.
Got it. So being in that you've worked in all these industries, you've been able to kind of learn different aspects of how different industries interacted, and overall it's like kind of telling like a story of a brand and making people want to follow along with it, because it's not just like they need to be getting something from the content in order to stay engaged is what you're saying.
No, you can knock down people's door, but to get them to come over to your house is an entirely different thing.
So like, how do we make like, there's a guy named Wes Watson that I followed before, and he's like, he built a personal brand. I joined his mastermind, and he makes all his money from social media, selling courses and all this stuff. And all he does is like flash a lifestyle, and he makes his all his posts are not like selling a program or a service or anything. All his posts are reality TV. And he's like, the more crazier you can make your lifestyle and everything, like the more people are going to pay to learn from you.
Absolutely. But I think back to a classic Groucho Marx quote where he said, someone asked him, what's the secret to making it? And he said, sincerity. If you can fake that, you got it made.
What does that mean?
It means if people believe the lie you're telling about yourself and the thing that you're pushing out there, then you've made it. Like, people consider you a part of the family who they'd invited him into their homes on their TV every night because they believed what he was saying. And the same as this, like, there are people who like try to just be the most outrageous thing, but ultimately there still has to be a kernel of sincerity behind everything where it shows the real person behind it. Like, you see so many people who are trying to be the most famous person and they buy followers to get the thing. By the way, never buy followers. That is the one way to ensure that you never go viral again. I've seen so many people who like just, they buy 20,000, 100,000, even more people, and then the money runs out, and then what happens? Their views drop to absolutely nothing.
And then that affects the algorithm because it's not pushing it out to anyone. They're showing no interest. So
right. You have a huge audience in Macedonia, but if you're not paying the audience in Macedonia to show up to the things, then what's the point? Or people who are just like, they make a thing, they like 2 comments, and then they abandon that forever, only to bring it back to follow someone else new. So yeah, I've seen plenty of brands where like they did that early on, but then you look into their stories and you see that it's only being shown to 12 people who are shockingly their friends and family. So yeah, you've just got to, one, do that, but then open up to yourself. If you can make people think that they're in on the joke, like, oh no, I know that person. Like, sure, I've never met them. I've never had a conversation with them. I only follow them on social media, but they speak to me and I think I understand. Then you've got a person for years, if not life.
talk about AI a little bit.
AI is like steroids. Like, it can be something that is absolutely good, but a lot of people are just using AI as a crutch without putting in the hard work behind it. Like, you may notice that a lot of videos on YouTube are just really low effort things of like movie clips connected to a voiceover that's like, the man comes across the person with the knife and he is afraid, but you would never believe what comes next. Like, there are people who are just throwing out so much, but there's no long-term things, because AI can absolutely be an amazing thing. I know I've used it for blogs, and that has made life so much easier. Or when I'm stuck in a rut, I ask AI, hey, what are 10 things to go with that? Now, I'm still going to use my own idea, but it at least puts you on the right path. Or like, just sort this. Like, those things, the basic grunt works are great. But if it's just like, hey, AI, what should I post tonight? And it posts out a bunch of things. Guess what that's doing? It's doing the same thing to the other 10,000 people who just asked that question for you. So, like, inspirational quotes and things, it's better if you come up with them on your own. I know it's hard, but sincerity. I know you can fake it to a certain extent, but if you believe what you're saying, it'll translate through the medium that you try and tell it.
I love this, Alec. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention is when you're trying to grow and things, it's good to have a rival, a secret rival. Like, you know how in like greyhound racing, they have the rabbit who just runs and the dogs have to chase after it?
Yeah.
That's the thing
Not
you
really.
want to do. Well, there's a rabbit. The dogs chase after it, encourages them to go fast.
Okay.
Because when you're just like competing for yourself, it can be kind of rough where you're like, am I doing good? Am I doing bad? So one thing that I did while I was building up to the initial 30,000 is I found someone who was a minor celebrity who had a similar social media following. And I never contacted this person, but it was good to see, am I doing good? Like, I'd gain 1,000, she'd gain 1,000. It was just in order to keep it up, because
Competition.
yeah, a competition is great. If you can find a friend to compete against, I've done that too. It's not good because you might get jealous, they might get jealous, you might accidentally sabotage each other in one way or another. So pick a stranger and compete against them. Never have to contact them, but you can be thankful to that person later on for teaching and pushing you to be better.
I like that.
So I've actually got one question for you, and that's, I mean, I work for you, but I see that you're pretty genuine. We actually like gave a woman a roof today for free. That was really sweet, and I know she was incredibly thankful. But what, you obviously want to be famous. What do you want to be famous for?
I think that I don't know if it's that I want to be famous. I think I want to build something that I've created a legacy, and I have, like, when you see like these billionaires that have built like Tesla, right, or built Amazon, right? That's something I've always, I think, aspired to be, is just like a world leader and have a huge multinational, international company, and a brand. It so happens to be roofing right now. If I was in the toilet paper business, you know, it would be a different story, right? But it doesn't really matter the product. I think it really comes down to like building a big team. And then you have to look at it as like you're doing it to like change the lives or people's lives or change the industry, because that's really like the motivation. You can only chase money for so long, but you need to have like a bigger and better why. I think the social media and meeting more and you know, becoming more known is great for networking and will open up like other opportunities in business or personal relationships. So I think you need to put yourself out there in this world in order to in order to grow into something. Like we're just training our sales team on prospecting, and Grant Cardone was leading the course, and he talks about the wealthiest people in the world. Like, your pipeline might be like this right now, but the wealthiest people in the world have the biggest pipeline, right? They have so many opportunities coming to them, so many deals coming to them because of their network. And so for me, like, it's really driven around like business and entrepreneurship and wanting to build that network. And I think that's what excites me in life is like is working on deals and putting them together and building teams and creating impact.
Cool. Are there any people you're following just to try and emulate, or just because you want to outclass them? Like, what's the old
In
thing
home
say?
services, like there's some pretty big guys that like I guess I would say I look up to that they've built what I aspire to build. Guys like Ishmael Valdez, Brandon Dickey is doing local roofs. Ishmael sold Next Gen here. Cameron Bodden, Tommy Mello. I just went into his shop and toured his shop and facilities in Phoenix. His company is doing $80 million in EBITDA. I think in revenue, 300 million, something like that. So.
Mhm.
It's just like the kind of the extreme in the home industry. Tommy's going to sell his company and get a check from private equity for $500 million, $500 million in home service.
Mhm.
So it's pretty amazing the opportunity, and it's really exciting to like look up to those people because if they can do it, why can't I do it? Right? They've just been doing it for a long time. They haven't given up. They've been in the industry for like 20 years.
Absolutely. And as you once said on social media, work and hustle until your idols become your rivals, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, honestly, wanted to thank for having me on. It's nice to be in the comfy chair for once. Hope we can do this again one day because it's different when the lights are bearing down on you.
I appreciate you coming on, Alec. Thank you, bro. Where can people find you, Alec, and enjoy your journey?
I can be found on every social media platform, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, at Alec Newman. That's ALECANEWMAN. And yeah, Alec Newman on everything.
Wow, that was super powerful, Alec. If you're building something and feel like you're behind, remember this. 14 years of skill can go into one viral moment. Alec, I appreciate you for breaking down the blueprint. For everyone watching, if this helped you, share it with another entrepreneur who's trying to build something. Whether you're just getting started or tightening up your operations to get to the next level, the roadmap is clear. Build with intention, build with structure, and build to scale. Legacy isn't something you're born with, it's built.